Hello, pen folks. Spencer here, back for pen chat number 12. We're up to like 180 something subscribers, so that's pretty neat. We've gotten like 80 in the last week or so. If you are watching this and are not subscribed, I would urge you to do that. I would say it really helps out my channel because that's what all the YouTubers say. I don't really know if it does or not. I don't know if it helps my channel, but it's kind of cool, and it's almost a little internal competition at this point. So, yeah, thank you for that. Thanks for watching and all the comments. I did realize in the last video that I called the custom Marushi a custom A23 like 3 times. I don't know why I did that. I have an A23, and maybe just, I don't know, subconsciously I was thinking about that pen as I was doing that video, but I know that it was a custom Marushi. I know the difference. Trust me. I don't know why I kept saying that, but user error, and I don't edit these. I just kind of film it and post it. So mistakes are going to happen. No bourbon today, just coffee. It is Thursday morning. It's cold out. We're expecting an ice storm in the upstate. Getting ready to bear down the hatches. I was going to do this video yesterday, but our furnace went out, which is pretty horrible timing considering the ice storm. But we got that all sorted and ready to roll. So before I kind of get started with my workday here, I figured I would talk a little bit about 2 pens that I received on Tuesday from ConcoPens. ConcoPens, it's a Vietnamese pen maker. They've been in business since like 2022, according to their website. I've seen one video about these, and it was the Rodin / Mother of Pearl version. And just really kind of infatuated with some of the designs. I like Japanese pens. I like Urushi technique. I like, kind of more artisan pens, I guess you could say. And so when I saw kind of the handwork that went into these pens, and, it's a standard Jovo nib, and I think it's a really good value for the price. So yeah, excited to talk about these two. So like I said, they both use Jovo. Well, let me talk about the packaging first. So both pens came in these little bags. This one's maybe a little bit better view. And they were taped together. Took about 3 weeks to get them in from the date that I ordered them, which is not terrible. So they come in these little gift bags, and then the boxes. So has a certificate of authenticity. Nice little, I guess, magnetic closure. Nice little box. It's pretty. So these will be put to the side and never opened again. But yeah, I do like that they kind of look like a book. I guess was the design aesthetic he was going for. So yeah, a lot of attention put into that. It's always kind of cool to see. Now the pens, like I said, standard Jovo nibs. They do accept international converter or cartridges. It is a standard converter fill system. The converters included. You get a choice of 2 nibs, fine or medium. The caps come off in 2 rotations. A little less than 2. Now, one thing I do like about these, the capping system, it's a little spring activated closure. So you have to kind of push, you can feel some tension, and then you start to twist. Very smooth closing. It's not quite as smooth on the mutated wood, and I'll talk about the 2 models that I got, but on the lacquer version, it's much smoother to close. I don't know why that is, but Just something that I noticed. But it's almost, functions like a slip and seal, like how Platinum does their capping. So that's always kind of cool to see. It does say on the website that it's to, designed to, prevent nib dry out or whatever. I haven't had these long enough to test that, but, and honestly I've never had a pen that I've noticed the nibs dry out when they're capped. So, but nice little, feature there. So size comparison, this is a Pilot Custom 823. This is the ConcoPens lacquered mock brown in the middle. And then this is the ConcoPens mutated tamarind wood. So about the same size when capped, same length, a little bit longer than a Pilot Custom 823, a little bit thicker. Now uncapped, a little bit longer than the 823 when capped. All right, so the first model that I got, and first model that I'll talk about is the mutated tamarind wood. So it's a natural wood sourced from Vietnam. From a tamarind tree. It is oiled, polished by hand. Very, very pretty pen, very nice feel in the hand. It's smooth. It's not overly slick. The grip section is not overly slick. I think it's very comfortable to hold. There's a slight flare on the grip section. And then you've got a step down, rather large step down from the barrel to the section. It's not uncomfortable at all. I hold my pens very close to the nib anyways, like right around here. So I don't notice, I don't have any issue with that. The grip section's a little thin, but like I said, there is a slight flare and I found it comfortable. I haven't had any issues with my hand slipping. Like I said, you do have that kind of slip and seal. Closure there, and you can kind of hear a little click. Now the other version I got was the lacquered mock brown. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but it is called the lacquered mock brown. And it's again, it's the same design, same exact dimensions. You've got a step down from the barrel to the grip section. You've got this kind of plated ring here, right before you get into the section, and then a slight flare and taper. And again, very comfortable to hold, very good weight. Inner cap lining, you've got what I believe to be a brass cap liner. Now, it does say that these lacquered pens are hand lacquered, and that they extract the lacquer from Vietnamese lacquer trees. It has all the different trees that they source this from on their website. So yeah, very pretty. It looks, it's not a Rushi lacquer, but it looks similar. And I think it's a very pretty result. So both pens are about 28 grams when they are not filled and when they're capped. I find that to be a very, very comfortable weight. Now the Jovo nibs, they are tuned well. I think they're both excellent writers, and I'll do a writing sample here in a minute. Haven't had any issues with skipping or hard starts or anything like that. The nibs are, I believe they are engraved. I think it says that on the website, but there is a stamping with the logo here, and I'll take a close-up with my macro lens and include it in the video. But yeah, I mean, I like the attention that went into almost every aspect of this pen. I think the fact that they don't just, slap on a stainless steel Jovo nib, and that they actually kind of, put some work into it, and they have a nice little logo. You can get these nibs in a medium or a fine. I actually put a Franklin Christoph medium nib that I had in the Tamarind wood pen when I first got it, and after writing for a couple hours or so with the Franklin Christoph nib and with the Conco nib, I actually like the Conco nib better. And so I swapped them back out. So I've got the stock Conco nibs on both of these pens, which was a little bit surprising. The Franklin Christoph medium nib that I have writes really wet, and I kind of like that these are a little bit of a finer, these are both medium, but the fact that they write a little bit finer than some of the other mediums that I have, kind of similar to a Pilot Fine, or a Pilot Medium. So I opted to kind of keep those in, and then I'll put the Franklin Christoph nib on something else. So just kind of my impressions right off the bat is that these are beautiful pens for a very fair price. The Mach retails for about $160, the lacquered Mach Brown. In the wood, there's a huge variation of wood pens on his site. You can get a now, I admittedly do not really know the difference between the finishing techniques on the mutated Tamarind that I have and like some of his other wooden pens that look almost identical. But the ones on some of the other ones, he's got like an ebony wood, and then he has a Tamarind wood that's not mutated Tamarind for like 90, 95 or so. And then this one, I think retails now for like $250. There are quite a bit of discount codes that are floating around. If I get one, I'll post it in the comments for 15% off. But he has a pretty huge variation of different lacquers and different techniques, and there's some that almost look like Macquier with kind of hand painted, gold foil designs on it. And then he's got a Mother of Pearl series; those go for like $350. Just very unique pens, I think. And I like that they're handmade. Great customer service. After I ordered the pens, I reached out to him on Instagram and just told him, hey, I haven't gotten a tracking yet. And this wasn't the same day. This was like maybe a week after. And he told me, yeah, they have been shipped. And, I checked my spam, and sure enough, there it was. So, and then we kind of messaged back and forth, and I told him I was going to do this video. And he was very nice, to talk to, and I feel like I will have a lot of other questions about the technique, just because I'm interested in that. So yeah, I think it's a cool little company. Seems like a pretty small operation, but they have a lot of different options. And the other thing, he messaged me when we were messaging on Instagram about the Mach Brown possibly not being in stock, and so he said, I'll swap it out for something else, just let me know. So I picked something else, and then he messaged me back and said, actually, I have one more Mach Brown. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So I'll do a little writing sample here. We'll start with the Tamarind wood. All right, sorry about that. I had a low battery notification and the video froze. But so we'll start with the mutated Tamarind. So this is the It's about what you expect from a well-tuned Jovo number 6. I'm using Graphon Faber-Castell Royal Blue in this pen, and this is on a Papermine Tomoe River notebook. Yeah, it writes well. There's not much else to say. It's what you want. So Now for the lacquer brown. Yeah, again, just, I mean, it's a good rider. So, and in this pen, I have also Graphon Faber-Castell Midnight Blue. So, you know, price, value, I think for, you know, especially if you're going for one of the lacquer pens, if you like Urushi pens, you like the look of Urushi pens, but you don't want to spend, you know, $1,000 on a pen, I get it. And I think this is a great option. And I'm sure there are some others, you know, I'm sure there are some other, you know, there's Wancher, that's I believe like a true Urushi, that you can get for, you know, a pretty fair price too. I've never had a Wancher pen. I can't speak to those, but I like the fact that you can get these with a clip. I like that he put some attention into the capping, the slip and seal, even if I don't really know the utility of that and haven't experienced that firsthand. I like that the effort went into it. I like that these are handmade by a single artisan in Vietnam. And I like that there's a huge selection of different pens. I believe that you can get these engraved, which is pretty cool, if you wanted to go that route. And I like the size. I think it's, you know, it's almost a dead ringer for a Pilot Custom 823 in terms of dimensions. A little bit thicker, similar weight, very comfortable in the hand. And yeah, I appreciate the variety. And I think if I was the type of guy to have, you know, to collect 40 Twisbys of different colors or something like that, I would definitely get some others, but I'm not that type of person. I like variety. So, you know, these are going to be the two that I have. I think they're cool. My wife, who doesn't really know anything about fountain pens, used them both, likes them both. She thinks the Tamarind pen is gorgeous, so I may give that to her. But yeah, they're nice pens. I do kind of prefer the mock lacquer pen a little bit more. I just like the look a little bit more. I think, you know, I like the capping mechanism on this one a little bit more, and I don't really have a reason for that. I just, you know, the design aesthetics of this mock brown pen I like a little bit better, but they're both very, very nice. So I think it's worth the price. I think, you know, the lacquer especially is worth the price for $160. That's what you're going to spend on a Diplomat or, you know, something like that. And I think you're going to get, you know, a little bit, you know, maybe feel a little bit better about buying it from, you know, a small maker, and you're getting basically the same type of nib, a well-tuned Jovo number 6. So I think it's a good value, and I would go for it. So I did get a few comments in the last video about shaving, which was kind of interesting. I casually mentioned that I am a wet shaver. So maybe I'll do a video next about that, just kind of for fun. Shave chat number 1. In the meantime, I don't really have anything else in the works. I did receive a Sailor Pro Gear, my first Sailor Pro Gear, not a King of Pen. This is the Blue Dawn version. So it's 21 karat. Not a huge fan of the nib design on this one. I like the more traditional Sailor nib. This is a hard medium, HM. I'll go ahead and do a writing sample with this. It's very small. It is a pretty pen, I guess, with the, there's some, I guess, deepness to the resin, but it is tiny. I've never, I guess, held a Pro Gear before. I expected it to be a little bit larger, somewhere between the ConcoPen and the Pro Gear Slim, but I can't see how the Pro Gear Slim is that much smaller than this and have it still be usable. But anyways, it's nice. I would imagine I'll probably sell this at some point. A lot of feedback. This nib is excellent for printing. Because it is a nail. There's no bounce to it whatsoever. But again, it's just too small. It's really tiny. So probably won't keep this too long. If you're interested in this pen, I'd probably, let it go to a good home. So thanks for watching. Not doing a video of myself again today because it's freezing out and it's cold in here and I'm dressed like it. So I'll make an appearance on the next video. Yeah, that's all I got for today. Thank you for watching and I'll talk to you soon.